Good evening and welcome. If you have the courage to do so, please like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. But especially share it because if you do that, within a few years, you can have very much confidence in saying that we are a government of, by, and for the people. And also visit my webpage, fightfordecency.com. Follow the strategy laid out there and try your very best to watch all the videos and the links. Because if you do that, what you'll find, what you'll discover is a few things. Number one, that what we're telling you on this webpage is the truth. Number two, the reason why it takes courage to like, share, and subscribe. And finally, number three, in time, you will find the true character of America. Now, having said that, I got to say, sometimes it's pretty discouraging, this effort, this grassroots movement. Sometimes I feel like this people don't get it, and what I want this evening to be is sort of an overview idea explanation of what we're trying to do here. And what we're trying to do here is really basically have people be aware and understand what's really truly happening, and also to let people know that in order to change it, to make a real significant change, you have to have the courage to um, fight back in in such a very powerful way, a scary way. On my webpage, I've got what's called the four prerequisites of a prosperous middle class. We argue that in order to get back to what I call decency, meaning that most of the people agree that this is the right and proper thing to do. This is decency, right? So there are four. Number one, you got to know what you're fighting. And what you're fighting has been very well hidden over the last 4 decades. They don't want you to know the word neoliberalism. They don't mention it on YouTube, on the news media. They never mention that word. And the reason for this is because once you understand what it is, you will understand why you're struggling. The main core reason why we're having a hard time. And number two, you got to understand that there is an alternative way to run a society through a better understanding of modern money, through the insights of what is called modern monetary theory, how how federal finance works, how it taxes and spends. Now, understanding modern money and modern monetary theory isn't left, nor is it right. It's just a description of how federal finance works. Out of that comes policy depending on those in power and their ideology, meaning how you think a society should work. What are the policies? What are the main objectives of a society, the ruling people running a society? Under the last 45 years, it's been neoliberalism. Okay. Now, once you understand modern monetary theory, you understand that it could be the other way. We could have a society and we could spend our money for good things like building infrastructure, like educating our children, not paying bankers an outrageous amount of money to educate children, like universal health care, something that I believe 78, the last time I checked, 78 of the percent of the people believe that that was a human right, that we shouldn't allow rich oligarchs to raise the prices on health care for the sake of profit. People are dying. There are some people, like real progressives, say that it's murder. They're actually committing murder by raising the rates in such a high extent. You know what I mean? It's just so modern monetary theory is just a description of how it works. Politics now has to deal with how you want to spend that money. Either you want a big government, little government. That's all politics. And we progressive people, we who believe in decency, have lost this fight for over 45 years. Okay, that's the second thing. The third thing is that you have to understand that to go anywhere, to get any kind of progress, you have to take the first step, which is through free and fair elections. Now, on prerequisite number three, in my webpage, I have a TED Talk by a person who is very passionate about this subject. His name is Professor Lawrence Lessig, and he lays out on a TED Talk the fact that we have two elections in America. The first one is through wealthy people with their money. Once they pick and like who they want to run the government, and they fund both. They fund the Republicans and the Democrats. They give money to each. Then, after that, then they turn and say, now it's your turn to vote, people. Now you vote. And we, the people, normal, average, everyday people, look at it and say, I do not like to pick between two evils. Because in most of the people's estimation, those candidates, that those wealthy, what I call the unholy trinity, bankers, corporations, and oligarchs, pick candidates to ensure that they're going to continue with the policies that interest them, which is neoliberal. Okay, and the neoliberalism is the death of the middle class, the death of working class people. It thrives on inequality. It's all about making money, short term, not long term, right? Not sustainability, not sustaining a working class, having a healthy working class, willing and able to work and produce for a society that flourishes and that can compete with China, right? Proposition or prerequisite number four, you have to believe that you as an individual have the power to overcome this indecency, this corrupt electoral system. You do in fact have that power, and it's not as hard as you think to overcome this indecency, this corrupt electoral system. What we have to do is take what they have done to us and turn it back on them. And what have they done to us? They have put us in debt by design. By design, you are in debt. By design, you don't have time to organize. You don't have time to gather together, to band together, to talk. It is by design that you're barely making ends meet. And you have to turn that around against them. And the only way you do that is through power and through a stoppage of work, a general strike. But it can't be for a week or until they give us our demands. It has to be for 2 whole months. Why 2 months? Because in 2 months, everybody's going to have bad credit. Nobody's going to be able to buy a car. Nobody's going to be able to rent an apartment or buy a house. And we run our economy on credit. You see the power in that? You have to accept and be comfortable with knowing that you're not going to be able to pay your rent, your mortgage, maybe your car payment or car insurance for 2 whole months because you're not going to be able to work because the truck drivers are going to see you demand that they exert their power, which we all know we have, truck, because I'm a truck driver, on their behalf, be the new representative of the people with power. It won't happen, folks. It won't happen. The unholy trinity will not allow that to happen. Why? Because look, it's one thing to withhold your labor and not be afraid and to have the faith and the smarts to know that, okay, and I could weather a 2 month shutdown. That's one thing. But it's quite another to have the time to talk. And this is what they really fear, that we people wearing red suits and blue suits, having this idea and having that idea, coming together to say we have something in common here. And what we have in common is that neoliberal ideology, what has been running our country for the last 45 years, is killing the working class. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it is killing us. And with that information and that time to organize and that time to talk, we will decide that we're not going to just not pay our month rent or mortgage for 2 months. We're going to add another 4 months, making it a total of 6 months that we do not pay. Now that is power. That's power. But do you have the courage to do that? Do you see? Do you see how smart that is? It won't happen. They won't allow us to do it. They'll give in. And what is it that we demand? We demand that our dollar is equal to the rich man's dollar. A lot of people like to say we got to get money out of politics. Well, I argue that we got to put money in politics. Oligarch, unholy trinity, spend all you want. I don't care. Billions and billions on your candidate. Because we, the people, have just the same amount of money. We have more money than 13 Jeff Bezos lined up next to each other. Why? Because we understand modern money. It's our money. Congress has the power of the purse. And if we all agree, now, they're not going to agree to that, though, are they? Why would they agree to free and fair elections right now? They wouldn't, because they know that they're not going to have a job next year, the next election time, because those rich people are not going to back them and give them the money that they need to run for office. But what if you told those slaves, our so-called representatives, don't fear that anymore? What happens then when they're looking at a sea of nation and a sea of people all wearing red and white backing Trump? And I know that sounds crazy right now, right? But I'll get to that in a minute. What what do you think they'll do when they see that I have a choice here, this candidate, right? I could beg for money with the unholy trinity, because I know they got it, right? And ignore the people. But what if we put them in a position where Congress won't even have a job because the businesses will not have income because we're not paying our rent. Bankers will it'll be chaos, right? Get used to it. Accept it. There's chaos anyway. They want chaos. They thrive on chaos, right? Because they have control that way. But how about if we say it's going to be chaos? So not because of us, but because of you. Because you don't give us what we demand, which is a government of, by, and for the people. But we're in control now. We understand what we're fighting. We understand what it's all about, and we will see it to the end. And what happens then? You reinvent the parties. That's what happens. What you will see is both the red suits and the blue suits falling over themselves to pass or promise progressive legislation like a progressive tax, not a regressive one like it is right now, where rich people don't pay any taxes and the working class pays all the taxes. Turn it around. They're not afraid of that. Both the Republicans and Democrats will say, I'm going to give a bigger tax cuts to the working class. No, 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 I will. Why? Because right now, understand that neither party represents the working class. Now, don't you think for 1 minute that that party is going to get that golden egg, that golden opportunity to say, I'm for the people? You don't think they'll jump on that in New York minute? They will. They'll jump on it. They want to be the party that says, I'm for the working class. Abraham Lincoln's Republican Party. FDR's Democratic Party. They'll be fighting each other. Instead of the lesser of two evils, it'll be the greater of two goods. We will reinvent the parties. But that doesn't happen unless you have the courage to fight. Because it does take courage to know that you're not going to be getting a paycheck for 2 months if they allow us to do this. You have to be serious in your threat. You have to say, I will do it. I will prepare and I will fight. And the closer that day comes, the more resolute we will be as a people to say, oh, yeah? You really think we're not going to go to this extent to fight for our country, to fight for decency, to stop the murder that you healthcare companies are doing across the nation because they're not killing Palestinians and backing Israel, the murder of a whole state because you want to freaking weaken Russia? The fact that you're stealing Russia's money, Venezuela's money, Iran's money, don't talk to me about the freaking law, jerks. Put bankers in jail first. Give the money back to Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. Then you could talk about law. Right now, fight. It's up to you. You, as an individual, do have the power to fight. You just got to make the decision. The strategy is there. The logic is there. The, the power is there. It's all there. It's all for you. Now all you got to do is be seen as a fighter and let everybody know around you that you're going to fight. That's all you got to do. God bless you if you're 501c and you're doing this and you're part of an organization that is trying to pass legislation in the state and to move it over to the federal. God bless you. If you're protesting out there, God bless you. If you're doing small things, short things, little things, that make a difference, continue. Don't stop, but add this to it. Because when the time comes, when we do get our country back, we're going to need your ideas and your organizing and your efforts and your hard work that brought all these people together, all under the same idea. This is a better way to run a society. This is the best idea. Break up the monopolies. Give us a 21st century Glass-Steagall Act where we can separate investment banking and commercial banking. Give us free health care. Give us free education. Because when we do that, now corporations don't have to pay us that much money to make a profit and to compete with China. You see, this is the reason why we can't compete with China, because they're too busy paying us a lot of money to pay for insurance, you know, and China is able to, and Trump thinks it's a tariff thing, and it may, right? In the past, it has been to invoke tariffs, right? But you don't do that without a manufacturing base. And why don't we have a manufacturing base? Because neoliberalism says, I want my money now. Send it off to China. Send it. I want my money now. I don't care about the future. The future is that I'm the boss, I'm the hegemon, and I'll make war with somebody that don't like the way I do things. And you vassals, you Europe and Australia and all you people you act right. What? That is indecent. It is indecent. And let me tell you something. Sooner or later, it's going to come back, and and you yourself as a citizen in America will be held accountable. It's true. You will be held accountable. That excuse that says that, oh, they're too powerful and there's nothing I could do, it won't fly anymore. It's flying right now for a little while, but sooner or later, people like me come around and say there's an out. And it's not hard. You just have to believe in yourself and fight. When people like me come around, then there's no excuse. Because those in Israel, those in Palestine, those in Ukraine, those in Iran, your neighbor across the street that can't afford medicine, look at you and say, I don't care about you. I don't want to hear your excuses. It's excuses. I need action. I need real action here. So why didn't you fight, knowing darn well that this is going to work? Tell me, why wouldn't it work? Tell me. Give me a reason why it wouldn't work. I'll tell you why. Because we're not who we say we are. Because actually we're not brave and we're not courageous. Don't be that way. Don't be that way. Show yourself. I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. I'm not telling you that it's not helping. All that you do, the protests and on the internet. What I'm telling you is fine. Talk about Kirk. Talk about all kinds of things. Talk about the left and right, but end it with free and fair elections and a mere vote on universal health care now. Now. By Labor Day 2027. I want it now. End your conversation like that and make that your main conversation, because that is actually the main point here. That right there is a huge step in the right direction. That gives us people with our own understanding and ideas of what is decent and how to run a society, because it's our country, isn't it? Or is it you, whatever they want? How many different ways do I got to tell you? Fight with me. For God's sakes, for the sake of decency, fight. It's there. The strategy's there. Just be seen and fight. You can't tell me it won't work. God bless you all. And for God's sakes, fight with me.